As far as wines, let me use your palate here just for a second for the barbecue people, because there seems to be like more and more barbecue competitions. It might be a little bit more ancillary versus the traditional four that are turned in to win the big money. But at the barbecue competition, sometimes they want you to pair wine with the four meats that you're turning in. We're talking about flavor profiles of rubs that are sweet, salty. A lot of them will have like a back-end heat going on with them. So if you're cooking a brisket with those type of a flavor profiles, do you have like any suggestions or thoughts on wines that might pair well with the brisket?
I'm a big fan of Petite Syrah. I think the fruit really goes well with brisket, and especially with those kind of flavor profiles. The cliche answer is Zinfandel, but I tend to like Grenache a little bit more, so Chateauneuf de Pape. The Rhone Valley, I would say Cornas, a Gigondas, a Vaccaras, a Chateauneuf de Pape. All of those stand out to me. I also wouldn't shy away from a Chilean Carmenere, so those kind of would be the ones that most stick out.
Then you have two big pork categories. You have ribs, whether they be baby back or spare ribs. Spare is obviously having a little bit more fat, kind of woven within the meat. And then you have the pork shoulder, which is traditionally highly laden with fat. Pulled pork coming out of the pork butt, ribs, obviously. Any thoughts on wines for those to pair with?
You know, pulled pork, I've had some really interesting, I had a really weird answer to this. I had one of the more signature kind of really enjoyable pairings of my career recently, which was a pulled pork sandwiches with champagne.
Really?
And that really doesn't come across as the natural pairing, but it crushed. It was a rosé champagne, so it was Pinot Noir based. I just absolutely loved it, so I'll go with that. I just thought that was incredible. Baby back ribs, I've had a couple different pairings, but if you've never had a Petite Verdot, I'd highly recommend, if you're listening, to write this down, P-E-T-I-T-E, second word B-E-R-D-O-T. Great varietal that I think would really knock it out of the park for you.
Last category in any competition traditionally is chicken. Now, typically, pitmasters are turning in chicken thighs, so darker meat, skin on top of that with a little bit of layer of fat. Sometimes chicken breast, but just as a whole, or I guess if we're taking it by cut, dark meat versus white meat, do you use the same, or can you switch it up depending on what color you got?
You can switch it up, right? Because obviously white meat has a different variable. It needs a little more oomph to kind of make it interesting. I mean, I find dark meat to have a little more succulent, kind of flavor profile. For me, on the chicken white meat, I love whites. I think of Viognier from the Rhone Valley or California really crushes. A Bordeaux Blanc, Sauvignon and Semillon based. So Bordeaux's known for red wines, but a Bordeaux Blanc I think can really do quite well. Also a Australian Hunter Valley Semillon I think is great. On the dark meat side, you can go in a couple different places. I've actually had some tremendous luck with lighter reds. Pinot Noir tends to be fun, but Beaujolais has bad kind of reputation because of Beaujolais Nouveau, but real Beaujolais, Morgon, Fleury, Saint Julien, Beaujolais cru wines are incredible.